Hi, welcome to this class. Now, in this class, we will be looking at how to even aggregate data in a different way. Now, we have this data set called the sample files. Now, this sample files data set is located in the GitHub repository folder of the Bigquery public dataset. Now, to use this Bigquery public dataset, what happens is, we basically see this sample files, right? And it has like a repo name, it has reference, it has a path, and maybe some other details, right? So when we preview the data, we notice like this, right? And then we also notice this is like 72 million rows, or maybe 73. So when we try to query this data, like if we wanted to count the number of rows that we have in this data, right? Normally, if we were to write a select star, for instance, this means that it brings the whole data set back. Especially if we do not limit the table, right? Now, normally, if you want to count the number of rows of this data set, then you could basically come here and do like a count, and then you put a star in between, and then you can just run a count. So when you run the count, you will see that this basically tells us the same thing as this right here, which is also referring to the number of rows. However, if you wanted to be more specific, maybe you wanted to know for each repo name, how many rows is available for each repo name. So here now, we will do something similar to what we did in the previous class. So we are trying to count by the repo name, right? So we will put the repo name, and then we will group by the repo name. The repo name. And then when we run this query, we will get, for each repo name, we will see how many times it is observant. It is, in the data set. To even better still, make our answer even look even better, we could decide to order the data by the number, the times, that it occurs. So we will order by count star, for instance. So if we do this now, we will notice that the data is coming from the least to the highest. And then we could also see we wanted to see it from a descending perspective. So bring the most frequent repo in the data set on top, and then basically just go down like that. So here we have like the top 6 repos, right? So here it has like the highest, and then it basically just goes down from there, right? And this is like how to basically group by. Now, when we group by, we could also use numbers to do the group by. So here we have like the position 1 and then the position 2. So if we want to group by, we could basically group by 1. This basically tells us that we are grouping by the repo name. And then also we could order by 2, because this is the position of that. And then when we run this query now, we get exactly what we did in the previous case, because this 1 and 2 just basically represents the repo name and the count respectively. Now, another thing that I would like you to also note is, so for instance, you have this repo name, and each repo name also can have like multiple references. So because like you could be in the master branch, or you could be in a different branch, right? So, and then this is like having different references. Now, if we wanted to also know, maybe we would like to go to the granularity of seeing, okay, for each repo name, right? What is the reference? What is the number of times for each reference is showing in the repo names, for instance? Now, we could basically include this reference and put it here and then do a count. However, if we were to run this query like this, it wouldn't it wouldn't tell us anything that is useful, because it basically it's expecting us to do the count by, because we want to group by the repo name and the reference. So we want to count for each repo name. We want to count for each reference in each repo name, right? How many times does it occur in a data set? So now we have to group by these two columns, and this now means that we have to group by 1 and 2 based on the positioning. Everything is based on the positioning. If we were to take this reference and put it as the last case, then we would have to group by 1 and 3. Now, also, if we basically order this data set now, if we run this query like this, we will notice that this does not affect the count in terms of the order by, because this 2 is pointing to the reference, and then what you will notice is that the reference will be arranged in a descending order, and that's why you see that the reference is starting from Z sum, and then it's basically going down to a Y, right? So basically what we want to really achieve here is we want to order by the count, and then we can basically do our descending. And then here what we see is, we notice that basically for this repo name in this reference, it shows this number of times, and basically this gives us an idea of what repo name and reference is like the highest in the data set, and basically we just go downhill from there. Now in the next class, we could basically go into discussing some other types of count. See you in the next one. Thank you.